test of a person's true value? Death. Facing it, staring it down.
Johnny.
I got you.
Pressure's tanking.
It's neurogenic shock. He's dying.
V, you in there?
My head.
So what now?
Now, you find out what it is you need to do.
A thing of beauty, I know.
You've never backed down from anything in your life, even when you maybe should have. You go through Night City knowing a stray bullet could end you while hailing a cab. But that's never stopped you from taking action.
You believe you cheated death. It is death that has cheated you.
If you gotta kill, kill. If you gotta burn it all to the ground, then let it burn.
Gentlemen, on the ground, asshole, don't move!
Out of my house! No!
Will never fade away. What you did to me, I know. So how I find a way, but I think of beauty.
Would you rather live in peace as Mr. Nobody or go down for all times in a blaze of glory?
Will never fade away.
What's going on, everyone? And welcome to the Cyberpunk 2077 review video. And in Cyberpunk 2077 video, we said that we were going to have a lot of people, but life happens, unfortunately. And, everybody had a lot of prior engagements and stuff like that. So we want to put out the video. So, I mean, we just, like I always say, the show must always go on. And, you have both of us today. So you have Lewis and myself today. He's joining me because of Nick. Like I said, he did have some, prior engagements, couldn't make it today, but the show must go on. So, I mean, let's talk about Cyberpunk 2077. So, welcome to the Cyberpunk 2077 review video. And, Cyberpunk was a big topic since the moment it came out.
Yeah.
I think it still is, even though it has fizzled down a little bit because the world is going through a lot of stuff, obviously. Yeah. But I feel like Cyberpunk 2077 overall was a big topic. CD Projekt Red as a company did make an amazing game, in my opinion, but there was a lot of controversy behind it.
Big controversies.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of crazy because let's talk about Cyberpunk for a second, because as you know, it was a very expected, highly anticipated game.
Yeah, this game has been announced. It was announced way back. Right. I want to say like E3 2012-ish, around that time. This is something that this whole world, it's a Cyberpunk as it is, was created by this one guy who in the 90s started writing about this universe, and then CD Projekt was like, I like that idea, let's make a game out of this. And they've been working on this for a long time. So
yeah. But I mean, Cyberpunk as a whole, I feel like since it started production back in 2012, obviously it had the side roads, it had some bumps in the road and everything. So we waited a long time for the game.
Yeah.
Now, CD Projekt Red, before the game came out back in December, they did say the game was not ready to come out.
They did.
So the media or the fans, to put it at that point, they did say, they kept saying hey, we've waited so long for the game, you announced it so long ago, why don't you guys just release the game? And they're like, well, it's not ready, but if you guys want it, we can release it and whatnot.
Yeah, because it was supposed to come out summer last year, right? Around that time?
Yeah, so it was supposed to come out in April, then it got delayed for, I think it was September or something like that.
Yeah.
Then it got delayed again for November, and then one more for December.
Yes.
So it got delayed quite a few times, but in reality, I mean, the game came out. Unfortunately, it had its bugs. Unfortunately, it had its own, problems. It had a lot of glitches. A lot of people were not happy with how the game came out. People in current generation consoles like the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 were not having a good experience on it.
I mean, I had a good experience. I liked the game, but ugh.
In reality, I mean, there's a lot that could have gone better.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this question: who do you think is to blame for this?
I think us as fans, we take some blame on it because we had this huge idea of what this game was gonna be, and we're so spoiled by, and I say that word freely because we get so spoiled by all these companies that give us games that are complete. We have the GTAs, the Red Dead, the Last of Us, games that are complete, and if we find any issues, it's minor stuff. It's nothing crazy as as Cyberpunk had. But then also, I do think that the company, and they did take responsibility for what they did wrong. That the company should have, extended that wait time for the game.
Yeah.
That game needed like a little bit, like at least a year more.
I agree.
Of like working on.
For me, it's not too much like the company took responsibility for what they did, and that to me, Cyberpunk. CD Projekt Red still for me it's one of the all-time greatest companies because they care about the community. They care about the gaming community. That they actually sent out an apology letter. They did an apology video. They said they actually gave refunds on the games. So I mean, there was a lot that this company did for the community. There's a in my opinion, I feel like there's a lot to blame for the gaming community because a lot of people could be very, very toxic about the whole topic, which kind of sucks, to be honest with you.
And I think there's a lot of not to mention their names, but a lot of game journalist companies that everybody knows, they jumped on that and they used that to get traction.
Oh, of course.
So they pushed that whole idea of like this game is bad, this game is buggy, this company lied to you. So
it was kind of like ridiculous on the whole problem and everything that it was. And don't get me wrong, I understand why. There was a lot of problems in the game, and I saw a lot of glitches. I saw a lot of people having problems and whatnot. I experienced a few, not many, because I was playing on the Series X. So I experienced a few problems here and there, but not big. Like I feel like the whole time that I actually did play Cyberpunk, the game for me crashed only once. That it actually crashed the whole game. I had to reopen it back up and continue from where I was. But even then, I don't feel like it had that many problems. Now, let's talk about Cyberpunk as a game.
Yeah.
Because, we could address this the whole video. We could address CD Projekt Red and all that stuff the whole video, but this is not what we're here for.
At the end of the day, we played it, we finished it,
we did,
and we have our thoughts. So.
Yeah, we definitely did, and I feel like, CD Projekt Red, for what they did, I feel like they took responsibility, and, kudos to them. They did a good job on a game that, it was unexpansive as it was. But, our thoughts on Cyberpunk. So let me ask you, Louis, what were your thoughts on Cyberpunk initially? Like, when you first picked it up, you opened it up, what were your first thoughts on Cyberpunk?
I noticed, not to talk about, because we already mentioned negative stuff. Yes, it had glitch. It was crazy. It was glitch city. Changing radio stations was a nightmare. But I played a game with an amazing story.
Yeah.
I played a game that playing it now with all the updates,
of course,
I can feel the combat much better. But I saw what the combat was trying to do, and I highly enjoyed that. Yeah. The RPG elements, I loved it. The hacking, the stealth, I really enjoyed what I played. I feel like with the updates now, it's much easier to just pick up and play. I did beat the game. I got 2 different endings.
Yeah.
And I'm ready to start a new character now with the recent patch that we got. So I think it's a great game. I think there are issues that I have with it. I feel like the world is kind of dead.
Yeah.
I feel like cars just if you leave your car in a specific area, and you wait like a few hours, you go do a mission, you come back, you're gonna see a stack of cars behind them. That's because the cars don't have a mentality like the AI
to move around.
Yeah, so that's kind of an issue. Cops don't really chase you. You know, so there's little things here and there that I'm sure that they're gonna fix with upcoming stuff. I'm sure that this is something that they know. But outside of that, when you play the side missions, when you play the missions, when you have to make these choices, you know, I actually felt myself like getting into the character, you know, V&V and like doing all the things. I actually cared. I really enjoyed what I experienced.
For me it was kind of like the same idea. Like, I mean, when I first opened up the Cyberpunk and I entered the character creation, I remember we were talking and we did a timing on how long it'll take us to do the actual character. So it was 20 something minutes. But getting into the actual story, I feel like Cyberpunk as a whole was an incredible story. And not only that, but the path that you can take, whether it was, you know, the nomads, the street kid, or the business class, you could do so much with them. And then they have specific voice lines and interactions with other characters depending on the actual road that you took. So that for me was very immersive in a sense that you could actually do so much with your character. And like you said, getting invested as V, just becoming V in the game, that was just incredible because it actually made you feel like, you know, he is really going through it. He's gone through so much from, you know, the starting of the game, meeting Jackie,
oh my
and
God.
then actually losing Jackie after that. And now you have this chip inside of you that is making you make these decisions based on what the story is, and you're trying to get this out of it. But there's so much that could happen inside the game. Like it's so much. But then you have all amazing characters throughout the whole story. You know, like the Ripper Doctor that helps you out. You have Mama Jackie that helps you in that.
Jackie's girlfriend
helps you.
She has a great little side story.
She has an amazing story that actually, you know, integrates with you. You have Padre that helps you out. You know, the Nomads, which was an amazing side story in my opinion.
I really enjoyed
incredible
that whole ordeal. And the girl,
the hacker girl too. She was really good. So there was so much in the story and so much that you could do throughout the city. Now, there were a few issues for me too, because when Cyberpunk was announced, or the idea of what CD Projekt Red gave us was that the city was going to be completely open and you could pretty much visit anywhere, and there's going to be interactions with pretty much everybody. But like Alois just said, that there is so much dead space in the city that you really cannot talk to too many people or go into too many buildings either. So that was kind of like an issue, because you set an expectation and everything on what we are supposed to be getting, and then you take that away from us. That was kind of an issue for me. Now, the big question is, how do you feel for the people that actually compare Cyberpunk, which is an open world RPG style game, to Grand Theft Auto, which is a pretty much open world shooter adventure game?
I think it's people have to realize that GTA, like every time they make a new game, they already have this, like, for lack of a better term, they already have this cookbook. They use that formula and they just enhance it over time and over time. And this is all they work on. Like, if you think about it, this is all they work on.
Rockstar pretty much just have, like, exactly. They have those type of games. That's what they do.
So of course those games are gonna be amazing. Of course. When you have a game like Cyberpunk, it does so much. It does so much, and that's why it lacks in a lot of aspects that games that don't do as much when it comes to character development. When it comes to like the options of like story, like the fact that you can do this mission, and if you do it this way, you won't get this one, and you know, the RPG elements of it in your character, you know, leveling up and all that stuff. That's something that your traditional like Red Dead, that your traditional you know Rockstar game doesn't do, and that's why they have the luxury of like having a world that is so alive. You know, if you punch somebody,
on a lot of stuff.
Exactly.
They can focus so much on their world rather than the character itself.
Exactly.
Because in reality, you're not caring too much about the character. You're caring more about the story and how the world reacts. Because
it's a story that is already set for you. You're gonna play their story. Now, I love GTA. I'm not down. GTA.
No.
It's similar games, but it's different games at the same time.
For me, it's CD Projekt Red is coming from a game that it was medieval times, old school timing and everything, like The Witcher. They made The Witcher, and don't get me wrong, The Witcher is probably one of the all-time greatest games ever made.
It's up there.
Incredible. But going from The Witcher to now making a futuristic game that is an open world like The Witcher, but now you're incorporating guns, you're incorporating vehicles, you're incorporating all these elements that is gonna be so much different from The Witcher, but you're still keeping that RPG aspect. That's where the difference is. Now, a lot of people that compare it to Grand Theft Auto, that's where the problem for me happens, because they are not the same game style, even though a lot of people want to see it as the same thing.
Yes.
But it's not. In reality, it's definitely not, because you have the open world, yes, that's the same, but now you're having an action-adventure game versus an RPG game.
Yeah.
That actually makes you make decisions that will affect your story and take you on different paths. That's where the difference is. Versus Grand Theft Auto, which is a linear story game, and you have no choice but to keep doing that. You know? So, I don't know.
How? Let me ask you now. How did you feel? How did it look, and how did it sound to you? We tackle the gameplay now. What about like the visual and the audio?
I mean, for me, visuals, sound design, I feel like it was incredible. I feel like it was one of the most well put together games for that, because visual, yes, it made me feel like I'm in a futuristic cyberpunk world, versus the audio also made me feel like, you can feel that you're in a city. You can hear everything around you. The music was amazing. The actual audio design when you're in battle and when you're actually outside of battle, that was incredible for me. So overall, visual and audio design, I feel like it was well put together.
Mind you, you played on the...
Yeah, I played on the Xbox Series X.
That is a big caveat.
So it is, exactly. So it actually was one of the better consoles that I played on, versus, obviously PC, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. But still, overall, I mean, I did have a good experience. I barely, like I said in the beginning, I barely had any issues. So overall, I mean, it was good. How was your experience?
I played on the Xbox One, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the sound design. I enjoyed the voice acting a lot. I think the performances were amazing.
They were.
In the graphics department, it was lacking. But again, I'm playing on an Xbox One. It's and it is a game that like it's meant to be played on the beefiest console, on the beefiest PC, and I get that. So I won't be like, it sucks that it looks bad. It's more of a it looks bad because I'm playing it on a last year console,
which you at least recognize.
Yeah, of course. But I still enjoy the world. I enjoyed how everything looked. I enjoy the cars a lot. It has a cyberpunk feeling. When you think of a cyberpunk, aesthetic, it had that aesthetic going on. The clothing, I really like the clothing on the characters.
It was really good.
It was really good. The whole people with cybernetic stuff all around their bodies and stuff like that.
And the enhancement, the cybernetic enhancements that you could do in the game and everything, it was really good. I mean, what was your favorite gun or weapon? What did you use the most?
I'm happy I stayed true to the character that I wanted to build.
And what did you use? Let us know.
I made this girl. I went corpo, and I went cool stealth and hacking. So I was just like being stealthy with my katana or my nanowire. If I had to pull out a gun, I had a sniper or a handgun. That's all I used.
Very nice.
And I felt like I was a hacker. I felt like I was being stealthy.
Good.
So
so I mean, for me, it was kind of like the same idea. I stayed true to what I picked. I picked street kid. That was the path that I actually did enjoy a lot, and I was like a very edgy type character with kind of like in your face type deal. So we chose very different.
Yes, I was more like suave, trying to play around.
I was very in their face, and I was all up in there. So I used a lot of sniper also when I had to, but in reality, I was mostly using my blades, and I was also using a handgun. But that's pretty much most of the stuff that I used. The sniper was more if I had to use it from the distance and whatnot. But in reality, I was more up in their face. So Street Kid was really fun. And then we had somebody else playing Nomad, which I heard was really good too. But I was very happy with the Street Kid story overall.
I like what I played as. I think for my second playthrough, I might go Nomad, just because of what I heard from our friend that he really enjoyed playing Nomad. So I might give that a chance.
But I mean, overall, I feel Cyberpunk was an amazing game. So I mean, now to close it off with our score of Cyberpunk, what would be the score that you would give it out of 10?
Out of 10, I will give this game. I will try to be unbiased because if I have been waiting for this game forever, so I love this game.
Right.
I will give it a good 8.5 out of 10.
Okay.
I'll give it a good 8.5 out of 10.
8.5, yeah, cool. I mean, for me, it was very close to a perfect game. For me, it was very, very close. Obviously, it had its bugs, it had its problems. That is the only reason why it's not getting a perfect score, but it was very close. So for me, it would have to be a 9.
9? Okay.
Yeah, so it was very, very close. I've been really thinking about the score on Cyberpunk because I wanted to feel like, how do I feel about this game? But I feel like a 9 is very fair, considering that I obviously played it on the Xbox Series X, and I had a really great experience. But other than the glitches and everything, that was, for me, one of the most perfect games with story-wise and how it actually involved you in the game. Okay. So overall, I feel like it was just an incredible story. Yeah.
Good scores.
So, but I mean, Cyberpunk overall, hopefully we see more support in the future.
Yeah, they said we have a bunch of patches coming up. We have some DLCs after the patches, and then the multiplayer, which is coming after all the DLCs.
After all the patches and all the DLCs.
We got Cyberpunk to come.
So Cyberpunk is going to be a game that is going to be supported for the next few years. So keep an eye on it. If you still haven't played it, check it out. I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
If you still have not finished it because of all the problems, I would definitely give it another shot because they did come out with a big patch earlier in the month, if I'm not mistaken. But it was really good overall. I feel like it was a very well put together game. So check it out, give it a try, because Cyberpunk is definitely a game to look out for in the long run. Like, if you guys played The Witcher, you can kind of see where CD Projekt Red wants to take this on the long run.
And if you're a fan of The Witcher, you'll see some cool Easter eggs in this game. Aside from the Easter eggs from a bunch of other
everything else,
so
there's a lot of stuff that can happen in Cyberpunk. But definitely check it out, Cyberpunk 2077. I mean, you have our scores now. We'll definitely post some links down below so you guys can check out certain videos from Cyberpunk. Check out our social media too, because it's been very active with everything going on. So Cyberpunk overall, check it out. You have any final thoughts on Cyberpunk?
No, just play it. Try to ignore all the buzz. Play it for yourself, and be honest.
Yeah,
it's a good game.
Yeah, definitely. But that's it for today. Check out our description down below for all the links, links to the social media. We also have our merchandise down there, so check it out. And keep active in the conversation. We have a lot of stuff coming up, so keep an eye out for all these announcements that we have. And check out our Instagram. Our Instagram has been very active lately too, so keep an eye out for that. But in the meantime, always remember to pass the joystick. See you later, guys.